What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Let everybody know that we are live right now. Let everybody know that we are live right now because you don't know, I had Coach Willie Simmons of FAMU come on the program earlier this week. And Coach Simmons got some folks riled up. So hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Let everybody know. Let me know where you're from in the chat. And we'll be right back after the bumper. Stay tuned. What up, what up, what up, everybody? What up, what up, what up, everybody? Thank you all for being here. What's going on, Jamie and Christopher and Mr. Campbell? Shut up, bump and rum, Christopher. So, like, what? So, some of you may be wondering what the topic of conversation, why the cover art says, was Willie Simmons, Coach Simmons, right or wrong? We got Monte in the building. It says JBO. It says, yeah. Christopher's got some things. Says, man, Jeff, set this man up. There are 3 great shows. That's the thing. I didn't set him up. And for some who may be wondering what's going on, Cedric, what is going on, Monte, what is going on, everybody? So for some of you that are wondering, no, I did not set Coach Simmons up. As I will play the entirety of the actual clip, you will see that I prefaced it by saying, is this something you should throw away? So if you don't know what we're talking about, I had Coach Willie Simmons on this week. Coach Simmons came by. Once again, shout out to Coach Simmons. It's a real dude, real dope dude, man. Real dope. We had a great conversation. We had a really, really good conversation. I think the interview was awesome. I think it went really, really well. And during the interview, I asked Coach Simmons about last year's Orange Blossom Classic. You know, FAMU got beat 59-3. That's one hell of a loss. He said it was one of the worst losses of his entire coaching career, of his entire career, period. And so when I asked Coach Simmons about that, I said, yo, do you learn anything from a loss like that? What do you learn? Do you learn anything? And Coach Simmons had a very interesting comment, right? He had a very interesting comment about learn or what he may have learned or didn't learn or already knew or self-inflicted, as some of you would say. And that is what kind of got people turned up, right? Like, I kind of got people turned up. With no further ado, let me go ahead and play for you the clip. This is on my Twitter at JLightsy7. I'll post it on the screen here in a second. But at JLightsy7, as you see, it's got 30,000 views, over 30,000 views. This was me, Coach Simmons. You'll hear the whole entire question, his whole entire answer, because we're not going to shortchange him. Let me know if you can hear it in the chat. But just asking him about the Orange Blossom Classic, a 59-3 loss that they had at the hands of Jackson State. Let's take a listen. To reflect back on the Orange Blossom Classic from 2022, it wasn't the best showing for your team, right? Like, we understand that there were issues and things like that. What can you learn? Is there anything that you can learn from a game? Obviously, like that, because obviously you guys went on to win 9 in a row after that. But do you guys ever, now that Orange Blossom Classic, you know, the 3-time, going against Jackson State for the 3rd time in a row, are there things that you and your team talk about when it comes to that game in 2022? Or is 2022 is past and you're looking forward to 23? Like, how does that work now that the Orange Blossom Classic 23 is upcoming? First of all, for young journalists, spit it out. I was stuttering over my words a little bit, blah, blah, but I kind of cleaned it up at the end. You know, I cleaned it up at the end, basically, like, what did you take away from the 22 game? Do you even talk about the 22 game? Or are you just looking forward to the 23 game, that game being the Orange Blossom Classic, which once again, for the 3rd game in a row, which is what I was trying to say, 3rd game in a row, they'll be playing Jackson State. And this is Coach Simmons' answer. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, well, you know, we said the same thing from the start of last season, and we feel this wholeheartedly, and we feel the same way today. FAMU's biggest opponent is FAMU. We're talented. We're extremely talented. You know, we have a great coaching staff. We have great support from our administration, from our leadership, from our fan base. And so if we can do the things that we need to do, we'll be successful. The game last year was all self-inflicted stuff. I mean, every single thing that happened to us
So when he first said self-inflicted stuff, I said, I did one of those. It was like, okay. Wasn't all self-inflicted. At least I didn't think so. And I was like, okay. Then this is where he continues to get me. Let's keep listening.
Was self-inflicted. This is no disrespect to Jackson. This takes away nothing that they did. I mean, Shedeur Sanders had a phenomenal game. Started, I think, 17-17. Well, even when you look at that, our coverages were off.
And when he said Shedeur started 17-17, I was like, yeah, coach. that I did a little one of them, like, 17-17. That sounds self-inflicted. Like Shedeur was going to town. Let's keep listening.
Guys weren't in the right places. We weren't rerouting receivers. We were leaving guys uncovered. We were missing tackles. I mean, you name it, we did it. We turned the ball over 4 or 5 times. Every unconventional way to score, they did. Blocked the punt for a touchdown, picked up a fumble for a touchdown, got a pick 6 for a touchdown. So that's 3 touchdowns in unconventional ways that typically don't happen in a football game. You know, we just did silly stuff the entire day. It was the Murphy. I call it the Murphy's Law game. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And so, and it was from the very beginning, right? And so for us, you know, we look back and reflect and say, hey, we didn't give ourselves a chance to win the game. And even as coaches, that started with us and even in our preparation. You know, when we got to Miami, the things we did down in Miami Gardens, you know, all of those things we've had to reevaluate, and we're going to do those things differently this year. And so.
And that's the gist of what he said. But that was interesting, right? Like, so when I first heard it, and I want to hear from you guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the number on the screen, and you guys give a call. And I'll be done, and I just want to really just listen to what everybody has to say, because when he was saying that, you know, as y'all can tell, I'm keeping a straight face because I try to be a professional. I try to be for the most part. And he's saying that, and he said the self-inflicted thing. I was like, yo, okay, that's a little different. And then he started naming the ways Jackson State scored. You know, blocked the punt, pick 6, should have had another pick 6, fumble, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay, you know, at what point did JSU cause that, right? At what point was that Jackson State, right? At what point is like, you know, I get it, some of it, you know, you shoot yourself in the foot a little bit, you know, I can see that, right? But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, Shedeur started the game 17 of 17. Shedeur finished the game. Now you got to remember, if you don't remember, because it's almost been a year ago, so some of y'all may or may not remember. Let me go ahead and refresh your memory. Shedeur Sanders started the game 17 to 17, and he finished the game with more touchdowns, 5, than incompletions, 4. For a whole entire game. JSU won the game 59-3. And so I was like, okay, Coach Simmons, you know, it's a little different. But then, and so at this whole, I let that clip go out there. It's been seen 30,000 times. I've been letting it. Other people have done shows. I've seen Doc Holliday talk about it a little bit. Shout out to HBCU Overdrive. I see KC, Ken Clark, and the 1400 guys talk about it. Shout out to KC, 1400, and those guys. And I let it marinate because I wanted to wait until I got a chance. I wanted to really think about it. And I said, you know what? Maybe Coach Simmons was right. Maybe all of it was self-inflicted. Because if you remember, there's 2 things Coach Simmons could have been trying to accomplish during him saying that. Because Coach Simmons, not a fool, right? The whole interview wasn't just about Jackson State. It was about FAMU. But Coach Simmons isn't a fool. He talked about his interactions with Jackson State fans and trolls, what he called them. He talked about some of the people, the same people from Jackson State that be in his mentions, that mess with his stuff, that bother him. So he's very aware of what he does. He even apologized for a tweet that he put out. So he's very aware. This is not a guy that got caught slipping, right? He meant that. Like, he meant that in one way or another, whether he wholeheartedly believes FAMU could have won that game in 2022 and they just didn't because of what he called self-inflicted wounds, or he believes, quite frankly, his team's better than Jackson this year and he can't go back and replay the game from last year, so he plans on beating Jackson State in the Orange Blossom Classic this year. That's what he was doing. He's essentially saying, yeah, they was better than us last year. Here's what I took. This is not his words, by the way. You can go watch the whole interview to hear his words. But he's basically saying, yeah, they beat us. Come do it again. Yeah, you beat us last year. Hell, you beat us the year before. Come do it again. And you know what I say to Coach Simmons for saying that? I love it, Coach. stand 10 toes down. Stand 10 toes down on what you said. He's seen the interview. He ain't said nothing about taking it. You know, when people, if somebody felt like they got caught off guard, right? Or felt like you took a clip out of context or whatever, Coach Simmons has seen that clip. Coach Simmons know what he said. Guess what? He ain't said nothing to me about it. His people on his staff have retweeted, liked, shared that video. You know why they're doing that? Because they're like, come do it again. Yeah, you got us. You got us one time last year. Come do it again. And he don't believe you can do it again. He don't. Shout out to my boy ASVP in here. He don't believe you can do it again. He doesn't. He doesn't. He just doesn't. And so that is why, because like I said, some people was like, I had even a FAMU person came to me and was like, out of all the clips you could have took, Coach Simmons was on there for 30 minutes, which he wasn't. Shout out to Coach Simmons for doing a 30-minute interview with me. He didn't have to do that. But it's like, you could have used a better clip. No, that was the clip. As soon as he said it, I knew I was pulling that clip. I knew I was. It was perfect. It was the perfect soundbite. Because he doesn't believe, and he went on to say it in a number of ways, just very politely. He's not saying it like I'm saying it, but he's like, yo, I don't believe you can do that again. And I say, that's what's up, Coach Simmons. That's what's up. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Gabriel.
What's going on, Gabriel? What's on your mind?
I heard what you said, Jeff. Now, it's like this right here.
Talk to me.
You know, one is a blip. 2 times in a row, that ain't a coincidence. If he want to make it a third, we can do that. Because to the Jackson State fans, all he do, look here, Hummingbird, look, Hummingbird mouth, Tweety Bird ass, mouth right check that an ass can't cash. So if he a glutton for punishment, if that's what he wants, then damn it, that's what they say. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get up off here.
Talk to me.
Just like The Rock used to say, we're gonna take all our shoes, shine them up real nice and neat, turn them some bitches sideways, and stick it straight up all their candy asses.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. But here's the thing, y'all. Like, here's the thing that we have to continue to recognize, right? The rest of the SWAC coaches believe JSU was fooled this year. I mean, I don't know if y'all heard. There's a new sheriff in town running JSU, and y'all know I rock with Jackson, right? I've been there multiple times. But the Coach Simmons is just telling you what the rest of the SWAC feels. The crown is up for taking. He didn't say that by accident. He knew. Coach Simmons is a smart dude. He knew that I would take that clip. He understands that the people give him the most pushback on Twitter for whatever reason are the people from 1400 Lynch Street. He understands that. And so he knew by saying every single point Jackson State scored was because FAMU was self-inflicted. He knew that was gold. He knew he was on an interview. He had to know I was going to take the clip. I took the clip and posted it before the interview was done. Because I heard that and you couldn't see it because I straight face. But when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. But guess what? Salute to you, Coach, because he feels that way for real. And he don't feel like you can do it again. Don't feel like you can do it again. It's that simple. Because if he felt, if I've been seeing, because I've seen y'all tweets and reactions. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. I've seen y'all tweets and reactions. People like, oh man, Coach Simmons ain't never talked this much in 2 years. Oh man, if Dion was there, Simmons wouldn't be talking like that. And guess what? You might be right. You might be right. You might, because correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen Coach Simmons on someone else's platform. Because if he was, we would have heard his reaction to the Orange Blossom Classic before now. The Orange Blossom Classic 22 was in September of 22. We're in mid-June of 23. The number's on the screen, by the way, if you want to get in here, because I want to hear from you all. But that's almost a whole 12 months. And he hasn't said, that's the first time any of us ever heard him say that about last year's game. And so therefore, Coach Simmons don't do a whole lot of interviews. He's not really outside a whole lot. Now he got them Twitter fingers. He got them Twitter fingers. He be on the Twitter. He be chatting it up in the Twitter. But I'm saying, man, you said you giving that man too much credit. Too much credit for what? He said it. I didn't say it. He said what he said. He said what he said. He said them points JSU scored were because FAMU messed up. He started his answer by saying the only team that can beat FAMU is FAMU. Let me repeat what the man said. I can run the clip back if you need me to. He said the only team that can beat FAMU is FAMU. And he wholeheartedly believes that. Also throughout that interview, he said he's going to have a top 5 defense. Also throughout that interview, he said the offense is going to uptick. Also throughout that interview, he said that his offense couldn't run the ball last year, and they went out and got 3 transfer running backs and upgraded the O-line. This is what the man said. I'm not, you get what I'm saying? I'm not making it up. I'm not putting words in his mouth. This is what he said. And he feels this way. And his fans feel that way. They saying it's their year. This is what the man, it's not hyperbole. This is not me hoping, wishing that they'd be great. This is what he told me. He told me. And then he told the world at that. Because when he told me, he told y'all. He said, this was part of it. So he answered this. He said he couldn't run the ball. They didn't put a concerted effort into running the ball last year. Now this year they have better backs, a better line, and a better defense. And he said that's why they'll be able to run the ball. This is what the man told me. I can't talk for him. I'm telling you what the man told me. I'm telling you what the man told me. He said, go later day. Man, the number's on the screen, man. If you want to get in here, I want to hear from some of you all. What's going on here with Jeff?
Trey.
What's going on, Trey? What's on your mind?
This is Trey from Thomasville, Georgia.
Talk to me.
I 100% believe that Willie Simmons is telling the truth.
Woo! Talk to me. Talk to me. Why is that?
Okay, for one reason, I'm from BCU.
Okay. He kept calling y'all the little sisters.
Hey, but this man, when he's on a mission, he stays on a mission. It may have took them 9 years to beat us, but when he came about, they finally beat us. And I believe that this man, his whole roster is just stacked. And J-State, I love y'all, but Willie Simmons, he coming, baby. He coming.
Hey, Trey, man, I appreciate you calling in, buddy. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, buddy.
Hey, no problem. No problem at all. Man, that's how Willie feel, too. Willie feel the same way Trey feel. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Jeff,
What's
how you doing,
on?
brother?
How you doing, sir? How are you?
This is Mr. Campbell. How you doing?
Sir. I'm doing great.
I am here to set this record straight.
Talk to me.
And to see all that foolishness in this chat from JSU folks. Let's be clear. We have seen coaches time and time again. Matter of fact, the coach from the Nuggets just said this when they lost to Miami. We beat ourselves. We didn't play defense. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. Coaches say that all the time. So that's nothing new. So what the coach was saying was, if you don't turn the ball over, we weren't prepared. We weren't ready for that game. That's on us. He admitted that. So I give him credit for saying that we weren't even ready for the game. So that's nothing he did. What was the lie? We weren't ready for the game. It was very obvious. We got out coached. He said we got out coached.
He did.
Your quarterback's not supposed to turn the ball over, right? Because usually when the interception happens, the quarterback threw the ball in the wrong place. There's very few people like Dion that just go get the ball. When you fumble the ball, you're supposed to hold on to the ball. So all this is good. But you know what, though? Coach Simmons knows exactly what he's doing. Because you know what, Jeff? Let me tell you something what's funny.
Talk to me.
Coach would go down there with the Orange Blossom Classic, and him and Dion, and he would be kissing Dion's ass. You know, Dion this, Dion that. People got tired of that. Coach had got to put his chest out there. He got to let his snake hang, as we say. So he letting the snake hang, Jeff. He let you know what I mean by that.
Absolutely.
But this is a PG show. We gotta let our snake hang. So yeah, he talking. He doing big talking. And I'm glad he's doing talk. I'm glad that the JSU folks did. And you know what kills me about the JSU folks? When Dion was doing all that big mouth talking, right? Because who was the most big mouth talking in the whole SWAC? But when they got their ass whooped twice by Celebration Bowl, well. Dion did the exact same talking. So I ain't got no problem. The coach, talk your talk. And I'm going to see all my JSU nieces and nephews in Miami because everybody knows I'm from Jackson. And matter of fact, we need to have a tailgate. I will sponsor that. Zoe, you set it up. Because I want to see all y'all after that game. And I'm buying all y'all a bottle of liquor because we're going to shut all this down. Because all this talking that JSU doing, yeah, your football team over in Colorado. This is a new sheriff in town. And it starts Labor Day weekend.
So, Mr. Campbell, hold on, before I get you out of here, oh, man, he dipped out, man. I'm telling you, that's how they feel, though. Mr. Campbell is bringing the energy of FAMU. They feel like 20, and I talked to Coach Simmons. We did an on-camera interview for 30 minutes, and then we talked before and after. This is how he feels as well. Oh, what's going on here with Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Talk to me.
Andre, Jackson State alumni, 87.
Talk to me.
Man, I'm sitting here listening to y'all, man. First of all, Jackson State don't play themselves, so how can another team beat themselves? That's crazy. Of course, yeah, we got a few issues going on right now, but I hear everybody coming on. You know, everybody got something to say right now. But time will tell. We gonna show up, and it's gonna be 3-peat. How about that?
Hey, I mean, that's how you're supposed to talk, man. We are definitely going to see, but this is great preseason action. But I appreciate you calling in, Andre.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, Mr. Campbell, Coach Willie Simmons, they feeling that. The highest of Seven Hills is feeling that. What's going on here on with Jeff?
Man, it's Sid, man. What's going on?
Talk to me, Sid. What's on your mind?
All right, chat. This song is for FAMU. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. With BCU too. Kumbaya. Oh Lord. Kumbaya. Get your practice field fixed. Kumbaya. BCU. Get your fields fixed so we can come to your campus and actually play you. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Uncle Campbell. I'm going to beat your butt again at the Blue Blossom Classic. JSU by 40.
Appreciate you, Sid, man. Appreciate you, dog. Hey, man. I'm not mad at Coach Simmons at all, man. Coach Simmons came on here. Coach Simmons spent 30 minutes with me. And he gave a 3-minute almost explanation about why FAMU. Because, like, I only played part of that clip. But my question, even with me stuttering, bumbling, stumbling, mumbling with the question, my question was about 30 seconds. The clip that I posted is 3.5 minutes. So Coach Simmons gave a 3-minute answer about, I only played about 2 minutes of it earlier. By the way, if you don't know what we're talking about Coach Simmons saying that the Orange Blossom Classic last year essentially called it a fluke. Let's call it what it was. He said last year's game was a fluke. Said the stuff, the turn, everything was self-inflicted by FAMU. So when you say that, what are you saying? You're saying it's a fluke, and I bet you can't do it again. That's what he did. He said last year's game was a fluke. They went on to win 9 straight games. So that's his. You got to think about it. He's like, yo, we won 9 straight after that game. Last year's game was a fluke, and I bet you can't do it again. That's what happened. That is what happened. If you think he said anything different, or if you agree with him, the numbers on the screen, 727-731-8723. 727-731-8723. Because I want to hear from you all. Because that's what I heard. If y'all heard something different, if you think something different, call in and let me know. Because Coach Simmons was like, yo, last year's game was a fluke. Everything that happened, everything that could go wrong went wrong. We fumbled multiple times. We had a punt block. We threw threw 1 pick six, and another one should have been a pick six. You know what I'm saying? We just played the worst possible game we would ever play ever. And they won. They beat the hell out of us, 59-3. And then after that game, we went on to win 9 straight. And this year, they won't do it again. And we're going to avenge ourselves at the Orange Blossom Classic. That's what I heard. That's literally what I heard. Saying last year's game was let me tap into what some of y'all said. I'm just saying. You say you want, you know what I'm saying? Who wrote that script for Willie Simmons? Hey man, he wrote it himself. Hey, I'm telling y'all, how he feels is how Mr. Campbell feels. How Mr. Campbell feels is how all of Rattler Nation feels. They feel like this is their year. He told me that they kept 90% of the roster. He told me you can't replace an Xavier Smith one player, but they've got players to replace Xavier Smith. He told me you can't replace Isaiah Lands with one player, but they went out and recruited guys that can replace the statistics of Isaiah Land. And so that's what he was telling me during the interviews, 30 minutes. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Nate.
What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Jeff? First of all, I just wanted to say, awesome interview. You've done an amazing job, man.
Thank you.
And I love to hear Coach Willie Simmons speak. I'm a Rattler, Fall 96, former Marching 100.
Oh, and, shout out to you, man.
What he said, thank you. I'm glad he said what he said, because I'm not a football fan like everybody else, but what he said is true. It was a fluke. With all that was everything that was going on, and then also even the fans, it was a different feel. And then just the news of it all. They did beat us, we acknowledge that, but the way that we got beaten wasn't supposed to happen like that. We had a lot of our key players who weren't even playing. So for people to brag about how they beat us, doing with the circumstances that were, come on, it's unreal. But he spoke the truth, that he did it with class. Just love to hear the man speak. He's glad.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in, man.
All right.
Hey, man, like you heard Rattler Nation speaking up. They saying last year's game was a fluke, y'all. They saying last year's game was a fluke. What's going on? You're on with Jeff. Hello. Oh, looks like you hung up. I'm telling y'all, man, they feel like last year's game was a fluke. They went on to win 9 straight games after that. And they're saying JSU ain't the same. That's another thing that you got to take that away from that as well. You heard Mr. Campbell say your team's in Boulder. They don't think JSU's the same. I'm telling y'all, man, this is the energy that I'm getting. What's going on? You're on with Jeff. Hello.
Alton Davis. Jeff?
What's going on?
Man, I just called all the way from St. Louis. Man, I fell in love with JSU because I pastored Coleman Jr., Kevin Coleman Jr.
Okay.
But
okay.
I became yes, sir. I became a JSU fan, came down there to see them play, man, fell in love with them. And I don't care what Coach Simmons or nobody else said, JSU all the way, baby.
Hey, I appreciate you calling in from St. Louis. The 314. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your show too, man. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, man.
All right.
Hey, man. Hey, this is going to be an amazing year. This is going to be so great because that Coach Simmons clip, that Coach Simmons interview, it's going to play any and everywhere that there's a Jackson State fan. It's been seen over 30,000 times. And oh my God, no more. This is how they feel about you. JSU faithful. Let me break it to you if you don't know. I'm not sure if you heard, but you have a new head coach. He's a first-year head coach. I've had people from Southern say that they put their napkin and their bib on when they saw who you hired. I've had Coach Simmons come and say last year's game was a fluke. He didn't say it. Those weren't his words. Let me be clear. Those weren't his words. That's just how he self-inflicted was his words. He said everything that JSU did, from Shador starting 17-17 to all the turnovers, all the unconventional ways you scored, all of those were self-inflicted. Those were his words. They don't think you the same, right? They don't think you the same. It's like when somebody, this is how the rest of the SWAC feels about Jackson State right now. Right or wrong, we won't know until the fall whether they're right or not, but this is how they feel. Let me break it down to you. It's like when the person's a bully, right? You got the bully that's coming through, and they've always been the bully of everybody. JSU has been the bully. They've been Debo. The last 2 years, they've been like Debo. And guess what? They feel like they saw Debo get whooped. They think with your coach leaving and your players leaving and you bringing in the first-year head coach with a bunch of new players, they feel like you got whooped when your coach left. It's like the bully who got whooped, and now ain't nobody scared of him no more. Man, I can't be scared of you. I seen you get whooped. Yeah, you beat the hell out of me 59-3. Yeah, you beat the hell out of me 65-14. Yeah, you beat me by 3 and 4 touchdowns. But them kids is gone. Shador's gone. Travis is gone. Shiloh's gone. I think who you got right now, I can whoop you. This is how they feel. This is not hyperbole. This is the fact. Because the thing is, Willie Simmons had a press conference after the Orange Blossom Classic in 2022. He talked to the media after that. Never once did he say those were self-inflicted. We lost that game. He had they have a SWAC press conference every single week. They do a press conference pre-Orange Blossom Classic and post-Orange Blossom Classic. Never once has he said self-inflicted in any of those times talking about last year's game. Until this week. Until this week, he had never used the words self-inflicted when describing that beatdown that they took back in September of 2022. But now that's how he feels. Because guess what? He feels like he can whoop you now. It's like when you were a big brother and you been boop, 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 just beating up on your little brother for years and years and years. And now your little brother ain't so little no more. What does SWAC feel like for the last 2 years? They just been boop, 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 boop. JSU ain't lost a game in the SWAC in 2 years. They just feel like folks have just been boop, 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 boop. And guess what? Little brother done grew up. And that little brother, really, the real little brother has been FAMU. Because guess what? The last 2 years, that loss to Jackson State, the 7-6 loss, was just as painful as the 59-3 loss. Because you know why? It kept them from winning the SWAC East, which then kept them from going to the SWAC Championship, which then kept them from going to the Celebration Bowl. So think about that. For 2 straight years, whether it was 7-6 or 59-3, for 2 years, the one loss at the beginning of the year, you went the rest of the year and beat everybody else. But the one loss that you took in September prevented you from winning the SWAC East. And that prevented you from going to SWAC Championship. And that prevented you from going to the Celebration Bowl. So, yeah, when I feel like the reason why you won those 2 games, right or wrong, but when I feel like the reason why you won those 2 games, right or wrong, is now gone, is now in Boulder, is now the Pac-12's problem, or a problem for the Pac-12, however you want to put it. Now, when I feel like that is the case, yeah, I'm going to talk my talk. I'm going to walk a little different. My confidence is a little different. I'm going to go around like, yeah, That was a fluke, and I bet you can't do it again. You want to know why I can say it's a fluke? Because I bet you can't do it again. And only time will tell. Willie Simmons is not a dumb man. If you want to call in, if you think anything I said is outlandish, or if you agree with it, 727-731-8723. 727-731-8723. And that's the thing. I bet you can't do it again. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying, because guess what? Him and Deion still cool. He was at the Prairie View camp kicking it. That's his buddy. His buddy gone. He couldn't talk like that when his buddy was running the show. But TC, yeah, he could talk like that when TC's running the show. Yeah, them guys, this is once again, this is hyperbole. This is not what he said. It's like, yeah, them guys ain't Shedeur Sanders. Them guys ain't, you know what I'm saying, Aubrey Miller. He's in the NFL. Them guys ain't, you know what I mean? Like, them guys ain't there. They not that. This is how Coach feels. He's not a dumb man. He knows exactly what he said. He knew what the reaction would be to what he said. And he still said it. And he stood on it. And he never apologized for it. And he seen it and didn't tell me to take it down. These are facts, y'all. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. I just, I find it interesting that the Rattlers have came out of, I don't know, where were they at the last 2 seasons? I didn't even know they had that many people. I mean, the only one that was at the forefront was Mr. Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Cop and please. And now it's everybody that came out the woodwork. You could hear a rat pissing on cotton. It was so quiet. The crickets was chirping.
I'm telling you, Miss She Loves D, this is how they feel. They feel like the crown is up for taking, and they're the big dog. They're not the underdog anymore. They're the big dog.
It's like on Friday where he said, when he's around, I'm gonna be quiet. Be quiet. When he leaves, I'll be talking again. It's like I wouldn't even want to be standing next to a man that beat me 59-3. Like we not cool. You skull drugged my team to oblivion.
Hey,
and now you out here sticking out that chest.
He is. Yes, he is.
I feel like what Coach Simmons did was he started talking a little noise, and then when Jackson State hit back, the Rattlers said, "Oh no, we can't go out like that. We got to stand up for our coach." So now they sticking their chest out, and I like it. But Jackson State, the one thing we have is it's called Snake Away. Have you ever heard of Snake Away? Snake Away. They use it. Yeah, it's Snake Away. It's like a repellent to get rid of the snakes. So come the Blue Blossom Classic, we're gonna take that snake away, and we're gonna put them back in their place.
Hey, I cannot wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait either.
I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, that is Miss She Loves D. I'm telling you, man, Coach Simmons and the rest of the SWAC feel like it's theirs for the taking. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Hey, this is Mr. Ford. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Ford? How are you?
Okay, I just wanted to say I'm interested in knowing after this game is over in September, how many of those players will make it to the NFL? Because I got a feeling a lot of these players that participate in that Orange Blossom Classic this year will make it in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, I want to congratulate Jackson State for the fact that P. Diddy is actually going to give them the $1 million. I think he's going to give it to them over a 3-year period. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome to actually hear that the first installment was made. He made the first payment, and the next, like you said, the next 2 payments will come over the next 2 years. So that was awesome.
Yeah, and my last point is, I don't know if you've seen the USA Today article that said that Southern University has the biggest athletic budget of all of the HBCUs. They have over $18 million to spend Well, if that's true, please, Southern, stop paying them coaches starvation wages and raise their salaries. Jeff, have a good night.
I appreciate you, Mr. Ford. Thank you so much, sir.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Oh man, that is awesome, man. The thing about, and you can call in the numbers on the screen if you want to get in here. What's so crazy about like just what's taking place with the Orange Blossom Classic, Coach Simmons saying what he said, Jackson State, the game and everything. Like, we're talking about this game in June. We don't get this. It'll be like another 2.5 months until we actually get to see the game. Like, it's a long time before we actually get to see the game. But what I will say about Coach Simmons, once again, thank you so much, Coach Simmons, for coming on. He didn't have to do that. He took the time out of his day, spent over 45 minutes with me roughly. But he stood on it. Like I said this earlier and I'll say it again. Coach Simmons has seen that clip. Well, obviously he said the word, so we know what he said. And he's seen that clip since I put it out. And a lot of times when stuff kind of goes viral or kind of picks up steam and people don't like the way it's framed, they'll be like, oh, they took me out of context, right? Like, oh man, that's just not what I said, whatever. There's one, Coach Simmons couldn't have said that because I put both the whole question and the entire answer in the whole clip. And two, if he did feel that way, he could have shot me a message and been like, hey, Jeff, I don't like that. Yeah, you probably take that down. No. Actually, in fact, some of his staff has shared the tweet, have liked the tweet. Because guess what? In that building, down in Tallahassee, they feel like last year's game was a fluke. And this year's game won't have those same results. They feel like last year's game wasn't what it was supposed to be. And that this year's game will show you the test of a real FAMU team. This is what he told me. He said Coach Simmons told me that his 2023 team, his FAMU 2023 team, will be one of the best FAMU football teams ever. It will be the best FAMU football team he's coached since he's got there. This is what he told me. He feels like his 2023 team is the best team he has had since he's been the head coach. This is a coach that's had back-to-back 9-win seasons. That's what he told me, man. That's what he told me. What's going on in your room with Jeff?
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
How are you? I know who this is.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Coach Simmons is on that Blue Magic. He's on his apology tour. We don't have time listening to him explain why he lost. You lost, and you're going to lose again. You know why you're going to lose again? You're so busy focusing on Jackson State. The same way you re-up and you focusing on us, you think another team in the SWAC, they didn't re-up and they fixing to whoop FAMU's ass? If you notice, Jackson State ain't talking about no other school because we working. We working. They distracted from that dope. So once again, they on that Blue Magic. The only way they're going to get traction is by mentioning Jackson State. We working. Follow the blogs, follow the players. There's not a person I know from Jackson State talking about FAMU, Bethune, Grambling, whoever. They ain't talk about nobody because we working. Start in Atlanta, finish in Atlanta. This is dope season, okay? This is dope season. You have a good night.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Thank you as always. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is going to be so awesome. Hey, they said how start talking about their birthday. Hey, man. Talk about it. Talk about it, man. Oh, my God. This has me wanting to lace it up tomorrow. One thing that Coach Simmons also told me, if you watch the entirety of the interview, shout out to Coach Simmons. He was like, because I know my girl, she loves D. She loves saying this. And other folks that break down FAMU, they are talking about Musa, like how Musa ain't that good. I've heard other people say about how he said Jeremy Musa, it's like night and day. He said Jeremy Musa is like night and day as compared to last year, how much better he's gotten. Because I asked him about Musa. Say, Musa's like night and day, and he said Musa should be preseason SWAC player of the year. and it should finish as the SWAC Player of the Year. This is coming from Coach Simmons, man. I wouldn't lie on him, man. I mean, it's all on camera. What's going on in your room with Jeff?
Finish 75, Jacktown.
What's going on?
What up, Jeff?
What's going on? What's up with you?
Can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Hey, Sam, you ain't scored a touchdown in 2 years against Jackson State, man. What you talking about? Not one touchdown in 2 years against us. So what are you talking about? That's all I want to say. I'm from Jacktown Jew. But I'm just saying, score a touchdown first against us, then you might just talk about beating us. But 2 years in a row, he ain't scored a touchdown, man.
They said
2 years.
He told me this is a new day.
I'm saying,
he said it's a new
hey,
day. I'm just telling you what his man
you know, the
said.
Cowboys, our team did, preseason. All teams say they ready, they be, you know what I'm saying? But score a touchdown against us first. 2 years in a row, you ain't scored a touchdown, man. 2 years.
Hey, man. Hey, you feel like it's a new day, but I appreciate you calling in.
No problem.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Hey, dog, the Coach Simmons interview or the clip of Coach Simmons might be the best thing out right now because he's giving us, because like right now, really, there's not much to talk about. Like all week, but when a coach feeds you information like that, or when he feeds the world information like that, it gets the fan bases riled up, right? It allows people to have bulletin board material. It allows his team to feel inspired. Because when you say something like that, obviously you give Jackson State bulletin board material. But what you also do is saying, yo, you betting on your team. You betting on your players. You're betting on, because he was naming guys specifically. He would say, yo, obviously we don't have Xavier Lane. Obviously we don't have Isaiah Land. Yeah, we lost those guys to the NFL, by the way, is what he would say. Yeah, well, we got Rattlers in the NFL. Marquise Bell, Isaiah Land, Xavier Smith in camps, right? He said, nah, I expect those guys to make rosters. Yeah, he threw that in, by the way. And then he would say, yo, this is our year. Like, yeah, I'm not only giving them bulletin board. See, what one team's bulletin board material is confidence booster for another. He's like, yo, I believe in my guys. He said, this is the best FAMU team that we've had since I've been here. We're going to score points because we have the best quarterback in the SWAC. That's what, I mean, he didn't say that, but this is what he was alluding to. We're going to score points because we got the best quarterback in the SWAC, and then we're going to have a top 5 defense. He said they're going to have a top 5 defense in the country. Didn't say in the SWAC. He said, he didn't say in HBCU football. So we're going to have a top 5 defense in the country. This is what Coach Simmons, like if you didn't watch the entirety of the 30 minutes, these are things that he was alluding to. He was telling everybody why he believes his team is the team to beat. He was telling everybody why he believes that stuff was a fluke last year. Self-inflicted was the words he used. He's telling everybody why he expects to be the team to represent the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl. He was telling his team, yo, this team, JSU, in this game, the Orange Blossom Classic, has prevented us a chance to go to the Celebration Bowl. And if we would have played the Celebration Bowl, we wouldn't have lost like they did. This is what he got to be telling his team, y'all. This is what he got to be telling his team. Put us in a Celebration Bowl, and I bet you we would have had a better chance against South Carolina State or against North Carolina Central. This is what he's telling his team, man. I mean, and guess what? Bravo, coach. Stand on that, coach, because at the end of the day, you and your team will have to back that up. And at the end of the day, you and your team will have to prove you right. And at the end of the day, if you do get proven right, guess what? Coach Simmons is a fan of the show now. And he will be gladly invited to come back and do a victory lap. Or he will be invited, or at least the invite will be extended, if he needs to eat crow. I'm telling y'all, man, this is what's going to make it lit, man. This is what's going, I mean, this, you can't ask for a better soundbite during the summer. We've got 80 some odd days, 90 some odd days until the games start. And so you can't ask for a better soundbite during the summer. And Coach Simmons just gave us the perfect one. Coach Simmons just gave us the perfect one. Come on, man. The numbers on the screen, 727-731-8723, 727-731-8723. Thank you all for coming in, by the way. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. I think I'm going to play Coach Simmons again. It's been a while. We played it at the beginning of the show, but that was about an hour ago. So for those of you who are just now coming into the chat, because we got a lot of people, once again, we're talking about Coach Simmons and his answer about what took place in the Orange Blossom Classic in 2022. I did an interview with Coach Simmons earlier this week. Me and Coach Simmons talked about all things FAMU football, all things the Rattlers program. And in that, I had to reflect on last year's game. I asked him, well, I'll play my question, but in summary, I say, yo, Coach Simmons, in the game where you lost 59-3, is there anything that you can learn from that game? Or do you just throw that game out the window and focus on the 2023 game? I said that in my rumbling, bumbling, stumbling way, and Coach Simmons gave his answer. Now I'm going to take this call, and then we'll get to Coach Simmons again. What's going on? You're on with Jeff.
Kelly.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
How you doing, my man?
Hey, I'm doing good.
That's awesome, bro. Anyway, I'm calling you from Los Angeles. I want to, partake in your conversation today.
Yeah, talk to me.
All right, so here's the problem that I have with what Coach Simmons said. If he was any preferable coach, he will simply say, you know what, we had some plays where we were self-inflicted, but gives Jackson State credit. They did some things that took us away. You can't say somebody rushing the quarterback so hard that he had to look crazy and throw it and get an interception. That's not self-inflicted. That's your O-line getting beat. He has to rush it, throw it to a wide receiver, and he got interception. And he has to take on that responsibility, but he didn't take that role. He took another totally different approach to what he was trying to explain to this audience. And that was something that was untrue. And if you get untrue from the coach, then he's delusional on what he thinks on the outcome is going to be. I understand him believing in his team, believing that they can do some things, but there's a right way to communicate that. And if you start lying what you're saying, and I'm not saying embellishing what you're saying, then I'm going to look at you like, Coach, we did get beat a couple of times, and they beat us. Now, we did some things wrong, but they beat us in a couple of areas, and you can't – that's what he didn't do. That's the approach that he didn't know about. So, Willie going to be Willie, and we're going to see this coming up September, bro, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I can't wait for the game in September. Appreciate you calling in.
Anytime. Bye.
Appreciate it, man. So let's play. So for those of you just now checking in, this was my question, because I got to play the question. That way you don't know that I'm just making my question up. This is what I asked him, so you can see the context. I gave Coach Simmons an out. The out that I gave him, I said, or do you just throw it away? Because he get him like, yeah, we don't think about 2022. We're going to beat the hell out of Jackson State this year, right? Like, that could have been his thing. But no, he said, no, we think about 2022. We think that was a fluke. That was self-inflicted. Let's take a listen. Just kind of to reflect back on the Orange Blossom Classic from 2022, it wasn't the best showing for your team, right? Like, we understand that there were issues and things like that. What can you learn? Is there anything that you can learn from a game obviously like that? Because obviously you guys went on to win 9 in a row after that. But do you guys ever, now that Orange Blossom Classic, the three-peat, the 3-time going against Jackson State for the 3rd time in a row, are there things that you and your team talk about when it comes to that game in 2022? Or is 2022 is past and you're looking forward to 23? Like, how does that work now that the Orange Blossom Classic 23 is upcoming?
Yeah, well, we said the same thing from the start of last season, and we feel this wholeheartedly, and we feel the same way today. FAMU's biggest opponent is FAMU. We're talented. We're extremely talented. We have a great coaching staff. We have great support from our administration, from our leadership, from our fan base. And so if we can do the things that we need to do, we'll be successful. The game last year was all self-inflicted stuff. I mean, every single thing that happened to us was self-inflicted. This is no disrespect to Jackson. This takes away nothing that they did. I mean, Shedeur Sanders had a phenomenal game. Started, I think, 17-17. Well, even when you look at that, our coverages were off. Guys weren't in the right places. We weren't rerouting receivers. We were leaving guys uncovered. We were missing tackles. I mean, you name it, we did it. We turned the ball over 4 or 5 times. Every unconventional way to score, they did. Blocked the punt for a touchdown, picked up a fumble for a touchdown, got a pick 6 for a touchdown. So that's 3 touchdowns in unconventional ways that typically don't happen in a football game. We just did silly stuff the entire day. It was the Murphy. I call it the Murphy's Law game. Anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And so, and it was from the very beginning, right? And so for us, we look back and reflect and say, hey, we didn't give ourselves a chance to win the game. And even as coaches, that started with us, and even in our preparation. When we got to Miami, the things we did down in Miami Gardens, all of those things we've had to reevaluate, and we're going to do those things differently this year. And so with our team, we understand that the focus has to be on doing the little things right. That second F in our program is fundamentals. And so those are habits. Those are the little things that it takes to be successful. And so we got to really, really focus on that because the talent is there. And if we do that, we feel like there's not a team on our schedule that can beat us toe to toe if we do those little things right. And so that's the takeaway from last year's game. That's the takeaway from North Carolina as well. It was the same thing. It was self-inflicted wounds that started, in the summertime and transitioned into, the certification process. Some were in our control, some weren't. But we got to control the things that are in our control, and that's our focus and our preparation. So, again, the game happened. You can't deny it. Jackson State fans get to brag on it until the cows come home. Until we line up and play in September, they get to brag about, beating us 59-3 last year. It was an embarrassing loss. We're one of the most embarrassing losses of my coaching career as a coach and a player. And but the good thing is, God willing, we get a chance to right that wrong, this year in Miami Gardens. And this is a brand new football team. They have a brand new football team. And I don't think anything that happened last year will have any bearings on what happens in this year's edition.
I don't think anything from last year will have any bearings on this year's game. That was his exact. I don't think any bearings from last year. Translation. Last year was last year. Bet y'all can't do that again. That's what the translation means. Last year was last year. Man, I don't even make the God willing is just so meaning God willing we make it see another day. He's saying God, that's all that was for. That's his religious purposes right there. He said, as long as we see that day, last year was last year. Last year's game has zero bearings on what is going to take place in Miami Gardens in 2023. And that's what this is. Willie's right. Willie's right. I cannot wait. I didn't let the whole thing play last time, and I should have, because I forgot how ignorant he got. He said, yo, you know what I'm saying? We have a brand new team, and they have a brand new team. Last year was last year. It will have zero bearings on this year's game. That's what the man said, y'all. That's what he said. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. The man, this is what he said. This is what I forgot how I haven't, because I kept seeing, I haven't listened to the whole thing in a while. Last year was last year, man. Coach Simmons said it. He said last year was last year. I can't wait for the game, man. I can't wait for the game. What's going on here with Jeff?
Jeff, it's me again.
How you doing?
I got to figure it out now.
Go for it.
Coach Simmons is still traumatized. That's the only thing that I can think of. Bro, you scored 3 points. Let it go. Yo, he's traumatized. They beat him to sleep. He still thinks it's a dream. Sassy Simmons is traumatized. Coach, you lost. You got 3 points. Let it go. You're being real sassy right now. Let it go. All right, Jeff. Good night.
All right, good night. I appreciate it. He said Coach is traumatized, man. All right. Now, guess what? Nah, Coach, you ain't traumatized. Coach is turned. Coach said last year was last year. This year will be a new day, man. And I ain't mad at all, man. I ain't mad at all. It just can't get here any sooner. I just cannot wait until the game actually gets here, because once it gets here and once the final whistle has been blown and the clock has triple zeros, then we can revisit all of this. And either someone is going to be doing a victory lap, Coach Simmons, or they're going to be eating a whole lot of crow. Man, this is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for the Orange Blossom Classic 2023. It is honestly, it's gonna be the MEAC SWAC Classic the MEAC SWAC Challenge is gonna be good. JSU versus South Carolina State, but South Carolina State, I don't know if they just don't have a online fan base or if they just, I don't know. You know what I mean? They have some kind of fan base. I just don't know if a lot of them's online, and so that's not like that could be built up for something. But also Deion's gone, so it's not really a Celebration Bowl rematch, so it's not as built up. This OBC though, this Orange Blossom Classic. This is being built up. And guess what? Coach Simmons having them Twitter fingers and doing interviews is helping the pay-per-view. He's helping it. He's helping it, man. So I just can't wait, man. I cannot wait. I think that is definitely, as of now, that is game of the year. That is the game everybody's going to have circled. That is the game everybody's going to be talking about. That is the game a lot of people's going to be at right down there in Miami Gardens. Yo, I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. MEAC SWAC Challenge is also going to be awesome against South Carolina State, a rematch of the 2021 Celebration Bowl. You've got SWAC MEAC Challenge. SWAC been finally trying to get some wins against the MEAC. They're trying to start it off with beating the MEAC in the SWAC, MEAC SWAC Challenge, and then beating them, trying to get a second win in that Celebration Bowl. So that's going to be good as well. But that Orange Blossom Classic, that's getting real spicy right now. That is getting real spicy, dog. I cannot wait. SWAC folks won't even recognize FAMU as a SWAC school. Like, they still call them a MEAC school. Like, you know what I mean? They recognize, like, SWAC, like, FAMU and JSU fans go at it a lot. Southern fans be in there, too. Don't get it twisted. Southern fans love them a good squabble. You heard Mr. Ford come over here and say Southern had the largest athletic budget, so they love them a good squabble, too. But that Orange Blossom Classic is going to be special. Well, I appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. That is it for tonight's live stream. Do me a favor before you get out of here. Hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel as always. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to see more of my little clips and snippets that I'll post of this and other times and other people that I have on the show. It's at JLightsy7. That is at JLightsy7. Thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you next time. Peace.